Welcome back to DevMadeEasy. In today's video, we have an exciting project for you: infinite scrolling using the Unsplash API. Struggling with infinite scrolling on your website? Our infinite scroll project, powered by the Unsplash API, simplifies the process and delivers a seamless scrolling experience. Effortless loading displays stunning images from Unsplash API with just a few lines of code. Perfect for photos galleries, portfolios, and more. We've prepared a step-by-step tutorial covering everything from API integration to implement the infinite scroll. Subscribe and don't miss our upcoming tutorials. Get ready to enhance your website with our infinite scroll using the Unsplash API. Happy coding! Alright, fire up your code editor, wherever it is. My favorite one is VS Code. Let's create our index.html. Boom, it's done. Let's swiftly go into the style.css. Great. And now let's move into our file, okay, our app.js. Now let's use our emmet, okay, we hit the exclamation tag, and we're gonna have our template, okay, our HTML template, okay, it's done. Next thing here, let's move into the title. Let's give it a title. It's gonna be the same name of the project, so let's say infinite scroll JavaScript. All right, if I can type, yeah, looks like I can. And let's connect also this template to our app.js and also our style.js, okay? The first one here is style, and we can link it up here, okay, to our app.js, but you have to say defer, meaning that this is gonna load first the page and after that is gonna run the JavaScript, okay, our scripts. Boom, that's done. Now let's move into the body and let's start giving life to our project. Okay, let me make it a little bigger so you can see well. Okay. Now let's add a cool title to our page. We are gonna use the h1 tag, and inside of it, let's type Unsplash API infinite scroll inside. Okay, so let me type it if I can. Unsplash API infinite scroll. Okay, that's the name of our project. First, we need to import our special font. We use the DevMadeEasy font from Google Fonts. It's super cool and we want to make our page look awesome. Next, let's make our web page look clean and neat. We will set the HTML element box sizing to border box. It's like magic that helps everything fit together. Now let's style the border element. We will remove the font margin, set font family to DevMadeEasy, which is our fancy font, and have some set as a fallback plan. Okay, I did it. And give it our page a nice background color like white smoke. Ta-da, we're done. Save your files and open the web page in your browser. Look at that built font and amazing background color, okay? It's much easier on the eyes. First things first, we're going to target the h1 tag in our CSS code. This is a tag that represents our heading. Let's set our heading using the text align property. We also give it some space at the top and the bottom, use the margin top and margin bottom properties. To make our header even more eye-catching, we increase the font size to 40 pixels and add some extra space between the letters using letter space properties. Voila! With these awesome styles, our heading will be the star of the show. Save your files, refresh your page, and see the magic happen. Back to our HTML file. First, we need to add a container for our loader. We use a div element with the class loader and also the ID of loader. Inside, we'll put an image that represents the loading animation. Make sure that you have the load SVG image in the same folder as your HTML file. This image will be displayed while our page is loading. Great job! Now save your files and open the web page in your browser. You will see a loader in action, indicate that something awesome is about to happen. First, we will give our loader a fixed position on the screen. This means it will stay in place even if we scroll. We will set the position to fixed and set the top, bottom, left and right values to 0. This way it should be perfectly centered and fill the entire space. To give our loader a nice background, use the background color property. We'll choose a semi-transparent color, use RGBA. After the 22255, we're going to have 0.8 transparent. This creates a soft and also an elegant effect. To position our loader image perfect in the middle of the screen, we use nifty CSS tricks. First, we target the image inside our loader, use the loader image selector. Next, we will give our image a fixed position and set the top and the left values to 50%. This will place our image halfway down and halfway across the screen. To perfectly set our image, we use the transform property. We apply the translate -50% transformation, which will move the image halfway back and halfway up from its own width and height. That's it. Save your files, refresh web page, and watch as your loader image gracefully takes center stage. By getting the hidden attribute, our loader will be hidden from the start, but do not worry, we'll make it appear later on using JavaScript. Back to our HTML, we start by setting up our image container inside a div element with the class image container, and the ID is also going to be image container. You're going to use that later on JavaScript. Okay. We will place an image tag with the URL source of the string image from splash photo that we want to display. Make sure to replace the placeholder URL with the URL of the desired image. This will give our image container a nice, captivating visual element. In my case here, I'm looking for something that I like. Of course, you can pick wherever you want. I'm gonna choose this flying bird here because our project is gonna fly. It's gonna make you a better coder. And let me just paste it here. We have just one huge picture, but do not worry. We're gonna take care of that using CSS. For now, let me just duplicate this one. Just 2 times. After that, one more. Okay. Now we have an idea what we are doing. Okay. To start off, we'll tag our image container using .image container select in the CSS code. This way we can apply specific styles to it. Okay. We'll give our image container a nice margin to create some breathing space around it. We will set the top and the bottom margin to 10 pixels and the left and the right margin to 30% of the container's width. This will position our image container slightly away from the edges and create a visually pleasing balance. To target the image inside our image container, we use the image contain img selector. This way we can apply a specific style to the image. We start by making the image fill its container perfectly. We'll set the width to 100%, ensuring it stretches to fit the available space. And I forget to add one more picture, so let's add one more. So it's gonna make more sense. We're gonna see something very similar to our final project, okay? This is gonna have 30 pixels, and it's gonna be a infinite scroll, as you know. That's the name of the project. Okay, let me just give it a save, and now we have 3 pictures. That's very nice. Next, we are gonna add a small margin of 5 pixels at the top to create a little separation between the image and the container. Great job. Save your files and refresh the page. You'll see the image inside the container. Beautiful, fitting the space, and with a slight margin at the top. Alright, and now let's make it responsive, okay? We will use a media query to target screens with a maximum width 600 pixels, which typically correspond to large smartphones. So let's use our media queries down here at line 52. Add media screen. Alright, give the maximum of 600 pixels, okay. And inside this media screen, we adjust the font size of our heading to make it more readable on smaller screens. We will set it to 20 pixels, ensuring it scales down nicely. Let me show you. Okay. And additionally, we will modify the margin of our image container to give it a bit more breathing space. We will set it to 10 pixels, providing a balanced layout on a smaller screen, as you can see here now. So let's go to our provider. It's gonna be our Unsplash, and let's get what we need for here, okay? We need this API. We're gonna need API key to access the Splash API. We're creating an API variable and assign it with your unique API key. Remember, it's important to keep your API secure. One more thing we need to increment this one is gonna be random. We need random pictures, not just one picture, okay? So let's look for it. It's somewhere down here. Okay, we need to add a random. And we need it to be random, and the count is gonna say how much picture we want to show or display on the screen. So let's add random. Okay, now we're gonna deal with random pictures, and we need to set up some variables to store important information. We'll create a count variable and set it to 30, which represents the number of random photos that we want to fetch. And you're gonna create API variable to assign your unique API key to it. Remember again, it's important to keep it safe, alright? I'm gonna show you very quickly how you can create your API key, okay, after you sign into the Unsplash. Okay, this is quite simple and easy, and they're gonna give you a API key that you're gonna use, okay? So don't share it with anybody. You have to make it safe, okay? To construct the API URL, use a template reader, as you can see here. Allow us to dynamically set the values of our variables. We're gonna create a API URL variable and set it to a Splash API endpoint. Inside the template reader, we'll set our API key variable to authenticate our request, and also the count variable to specify the number of random photos that we want to fetch. Simple like that, okay? So we have both of them, the API key and also the count. That's nice. We will begin by creating a synchronous function called getPhotos. And inside this function, we're going to use the fetch method to send a request to our API URL, and I'll wait for the response, okay? And next, that's very important, we're gonna pass the response data as JSON. Use the .json method, and we assign that basic data to a variable called data, okay? So let's do it, const response. I'll wait, let's do our fetch. And now let's pass it to JSON. And great, now we have the photo data ready to be used. But what's missing? That's right, display the photos on the web. But for now, all we're gonna do is use this console.log to see if everything is okay. And as you can see, it is. We have all the console here with all the pictures. The 30 pictures is 0 index, so we have 39. And you're gonna be using those link here, link download, link HTML, and those URL here. We're gonna use a couple of them. So as you can see, we are consuming the API, okay? We will start by selecting the HTML elements where we want to display the photos. We will use the get element by ID, as you can see, to tag the image container and later on the loader elements. Okay, so that's quite simple and easy. Okay, that's the name of the channel, Web Dev Made It Easy. Okay, done. Next, we'll create an empty array called photos array. This array will store the fetch photos for us to use later on. And now it's very important. Okay, now it's time to assign the data from the API response to our photos array. We can achieve this by using the await keyword before response.json. Okay, pretty simple, and it's done. And now let's log that to the console and see what we have so far. And as expected, we have our array with our 30 pictures. Okay, well, start by creating a function called display photos. This function will handle the task of creating elements for each photo in the photos array and add them to the DOM. Inside the display photo function, we use the for each method to iterate through each object in the photos array. For each photos, we will create an anchor tag link to the corresponding Unsplash page. We will set the href attribute to the photos link.html property and tag the attribute to _blank to open the link in a new tab. Next, we'll create an image element for the photo. We'll set the source attribute to the photos url.irregular property. The alt attribute to photos is going to be alt_description property, and the title attribute to the same alt description value. Okay, and it's quite simple. We're gonna fix that later because it's not dry. But finally, we are gonna put the image element inside the anchor tag element, and then append both elements to the image container element in the DOM. Okay, so it was quite simple. Okay, it's a little hard to do because it's not dry, but simple to do. And let's see what you have so far. Okay, let's go to the get photos and call the display photos. Looks like it's wrong, we have just the 3 pixels. Oh no, we have all the pictures here. Okay, as you can see, it's working nice. We click on the picture and it takes us to Unsplash and you can see the pictures. Let me see this horse here. I click and then I see. Okay, it is working very beautiful. And it's clear that we no longer need those hard-coded pictures and its links. Okay, this is gonna be auto-populate, as you can see, using just JavaScript. Okay, so far so good, it's working amazing. Now we're gonna create a helper function called setAttribute to make our code dry. This function is gonna take 2 parameters, okay, element and also attributes. Inside the setAttributes function, we are gonna use the for in loop to iterate through each key in the attribute object. So for each key, we use the setAttribute method to set the attribute on the element. We will pass the key as the first argument and the corresponding value as the second argument. Now let's use that function to make our code drier. Okay, let's grab the setAttribute, pass the item. Okay, let's drop it down. And let's pass in here the href. Href is going to be the same as you can see here, photos.link.html. And the good thing here, as you can see, is we don't have to repeat ourselves. Okay, and for the tag is going to be this one, the black. Okay, and this one is going to replace all those unnecessary repetitions from up there. Okay, it's done. And now let's do the same for the pictures. All right, okay, now you can see. Let me just comment this out for now and recreating this using our helper function. Within the for each loop, we use the setAttributes function to set the necessary attributes for the image element. These attributes will include the source, the alternative text, and the title, and all derived from the photo object, and it's working nice. As you can see here, we are showing the pictures, and yeah, you see that this way is working nice. Alright, and now the first line here. It sets an event list and uses add event list function. It's like telling our code to pay attention to any scrolling happening on the web page. Inside the event list, we have a callback function represented by this console log. This function gets triggers wherever we scroll. Let me just show you. As you can see, every time we scroll, we trigger this console.log scrolled. Okay, so how amazing is that? JavaScript knows exactly what you're doing. Okay, nice, let's go. The if statement check if the sum of the current window's height and the amount we have scrolled vertically is greater than or equals to the total height of the web page minus 100 pixels. This means we're getting close to the border of the page. If the condition is true, we're gonna execute the code inside the curly braces. First, we call the getPhotos function, which is responsible for loading more pictures from the Unsplash API. And next, as you can see, we print the message load more photos to the console, use the console.log. It's like a friendly reminder that we are triggering the loading or more photos. So as you can see, by combining this line of code, we create an automatic mechanism that detects when we are near the bottom of the page and load more photos for us. So how cool is that? Okay, we did it well, and as you can see, it's working like a charm. And let's make some improvements in the next step. Okay, and now by using this event list, we will be able to track when each image on our web page has finished loading. Allow us to perform actions like adjust the layout or adding special effects. So make it easy. Every time an image is loaded, we invoke the image loaded function and let it work its magic. Okay, so let's come up here and make more improvement. And now let's create this function that will be called automatically whenever image finish loading. Inside the function, we have a line of code that logs the message image loaded to the console. And let me see if that's working. Yeah, it's working fine. And you may ask, why is the purpose of logging this message? Well, logging to the console allows us to verify that the function is being called correctly. Now we need some variables, okay, to keep track of the photos, like this one, let red equals false. This variable will help us keep track of wherever our web page is ready for more image to be loaded. Okay, the image load is 0 is very important because it's going to be count how many images have finished load. And the total image, this variable will keep track of the total number of images need to be loaded. Okay. Now let's go inside the image loaded function and create this line image loaded ++. It increments the variable by 1. This allows us to keep count of how many images have finished loading. And if statement here, images, if triple equals to total image, check if the number of loaded image is equal to the total number of images that need to be loaded. If they match, it means all the images have finished loading. When this condition is met, we update the red variable to true. This indicates that our page is ready for more action. Finally, we log the current value of image loaded to the console. This helps us to keep track of the progress and see the count increase as images load. Now, inside the display photo function, the line total image equals photos.array.length assigns the total number of loaded photos to the total images variable. This helps us keep track of the total number count, as you can see on the left. In the next line, we log the value of the total image to the console, use console.log. This allows us to see the total number of images we have fetched and are ready to display. As you can see, when you scroll the other page, the code works its magic by checking if the scroll position is near the bottom. If it is, the mystical ready variable is true. Then something magic happens. And how about this ready variable, you may ask? It's a secret switch that ensures our code waits for the right moment to perform its spell-beating action. Once the conditions are met, the ready variable transforms to false, preventing the action from triggering multiple times. Let's use the console.log and check the image load, okay? We go to the bottom and the red is true the first time, but the second time it's not. So something is wrong. What's wrong? The total image is equal to true, where the total image is 30, but in this case it's not 30, it's 60. So that's the problem. And how are you gonna fix that? Okay, it's all about to do with the display photos. Okay, so every time we display photos and you go for 1 to 30, we want the image loaded to go back to 0. This way it's gonna count from 0 to 30, okay, and not to 60. So let's see if that's working. 29. Let's go to the bottom. Yeah, it's reset to 0 and the red is now true. So our core function is working. And let's go to the last piece of our app. Okay, let's have that the loader. So let's go back to the HTML and let's get rid of the readme property. Okay, so now it's visible. Let's deal with that with JavaScript. And with this line of code, we cancel the loader from prying eyes by set hidden property of the loader element to true. We create a magic illusion, make it vanish from our website. And as you navigate through our web creation, the load element retreats into the shadows, leaving behind the seamless and immersive experience for the users, as you can see. Okay, web warriors, that's it for our journey. Keep coding, keep curating, and unleash your creativity. I will see you, as always, in the next video. Bye bye and see you.